To turmoil for President Trump, the revolving door at the White House has thinned out Mr. Trump's inner circle again.
With White House Communications Director Hope Hicks on her way out, there's already speculation about who's next and what this could do to a president who's feeling more and more isolated in Washington. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan joins us now with more on the White House in turmoil.
Yeah, these are stormy days at the White House as well, and the list of names just keeps growing. Insiders say Attorney General Jeff Sessions and National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster may be next. The name of McMaster's replacement is already being talked about in some circles. Chief of Staff John Kelly made a dark comment today about the White House chaos, and the president's chief economic advisor Gary Cohn reportedly threatened to quit after something President Trump said today. With the White House apparently in a state of turmoil all week long, President Trump tried to get back on track by turning to policy issues on Thursday, announcing new trade tariffs are coming soon to imports of steel and aluminum.
It'll be 25% for steel, it'll be 10% for aluminum, and it'll be for a long period of time.
Industry CEOs gathered at the White House to celebrate the president's decision.
What's been allowed to go on for decades is disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
We are confident that it will be a good conclusion.
But the surprise announcement triggered a market sell-off as concerns swirl about whether the tariffs will spike costs for U.S. manufacturers and perhaps trigger a trade war with China, which the president accuses of unfair trade practices.
What they do is they dump massive amounts of product in our country, and it just kills, it destroys our companies and our jobs.
But in still another White House miscalculation, the president angered Republicans who argued that a trade war could destroy hundreds of thousands of high-paying American jobs in order to save a couple thousand industry jobs.
Once you start imposing tariffs, you don't do it in a vacuum. Other countries respond.
Nebraska Republican Ben Sasse called the tariffs a massive tax increase on American families. You'd expect a policy this bad from a leftist administration, he said, not a supposedly Republican one.
I don't know that the president will or should ever apologize for protecting American workers, and certainly not to Senator Sasse.
With the West Wing reeling after days of bombshells, from the resignation of Communications Director Hope Hicks to the security clearance downgrade for the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, the New York Times reports Mr. Trump is isolated and angry as well, according to other friends and aides, as he carries on a bitter feud with his attorney general and watches members of his family clash with a chief of staff he recruited to restore a semblance of order, all against the darkening shadow of an investigation of his ties to Russia. The combined effect is taking a toll. Now, a New York Times investigation reveals that Jared Kushner's family received hundreds of millions of dollars in loans after the president's son-in-law held meetings with financial heavy hitters.
Jared's still a valued member of the administration, and he's going to continue to focus on the work that he's been doing.
At the same time, the president is turning his fury to Attorney General Sessions, whom he has attacked many times before. But this time, Sessions may be fighting back against Mr. Trump's push to politicize the Justice Department. The Washington Post reports the president has referred to Sessions as the short-sighted elderly cartoon character, Mr. Magoo. And when asked about Sessions' status, the press secretary's answer, well, it wasn't exactly overwhelmingly supportive.
Does the president want to get rid of his attorney general?
Not that I know of.
I miss every one of you every day.
Even Chief of Staff John Kelly may have showed his hand on Thursday when speaking to employees he directed at the Department of Homeland Security before leaving for the White House.
The last thing I wanted to do was walk away from one of the great honors of my life, being the Secretary of Homeland Security. But I did something wrong, and God punished me, I guess.
Former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, who was fired by Kelly, blasted the Chief of Staff, charging that Kelly has lost control of the West Wing.
If the current situation and the current culture inside the administration stays exactly the way it is, and there's literally no change, there will be a lot more departures. Yeah, the morale is at an all-time low, and it's trending lower.
In the race to the White House in 2016, some of Donald Trump's Republican primary opponents warned he is a chaotic figure.
Donald, is great at the one-liners, but he's a chaos candidate, and he'd be a chaos president. he would not be the commander-in-chief we need to keep our country safe.
And lately, even when the president tries to stick to substance, he still raises eyebrows, like the quick death penalty for drug dealers, similar to what's being done in the Philippines and other less democratic countries.
The drug dealers, the drug pushers they're really doing damage. They're really doing damage. Some countries have a very, very tough penalty, the ultimate penalty.
Now, one more twist to all this. Late tonight, the Daily Mail reported that Hope Hicks kept a detailed diary of her time in the White House and all her interactions with the president. One publisher is quoted tonight as saying Hicks could get $10 million for a book deal if she ever agreed to cross Mr. Trump and spill the beans. Lena, you know what they say? Revenge is sweet.
All right,
Back
Dave,
to you.
thank you.